Hi everyone, it's me, C Lefty Run with my week 13 update. Week 13 has been my worst week of this cycle. So my philosophy is better to get it over with now than on race day. I always feel like if you don't have a bad run or a bad maybe week during your cycle, it's gonna hit. And you don't want it to hit on the marathon. That's like how I try to turn it around, right? Mentally, I try to turn it around that way. So let's get into week 13. Week 13, at least I'll give myself credit. I hit my mileage. So I ran 54 miles week 13. My hip is feeling good. That's positive number 2. Last week, I was like, we'll see how it feels next week. This week, it has felt pretty good. So better than it's felt in a while. So on Sunday, I did my usual 8, easy. I kind of treated it as a recovery run. My average pace was a 9:53. My heart rate was 129. And then Monday, I did my 6 with Stephanie at a 9:30 pace. My heart rate was 132. Nothing like, significant to note there. Tuesday, I had my 10 after work. And it's been very rainy in Southern California. If you live in another state and you watch California on the news, it's like the apocalypse has hit. Like Mammoth has gotten like 40 feet of snow, and in Big Bear, which is like 2 hours from me, people can't leave their homes. The highways are all closed down. I ran the Big Bear Rebel Canyon, right? So it's kind of like a local race for me. But if that were to happen right now, it'd be canceled. So they just can't even get any traffic there. So the weather's been really wonky and strange. So on Tuesday, it had rained during the day and it was just very windy. And so I'd like to just, when you have a bad run, you like to look at everything but yourself. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm looking at everything but myself. So it was windy. There were puddles, and mentally I just didn't want to do the run that day. And I did it though. Like that's when you got to show up, when mentally you don't want to show up and you do anyway. So I showed up that day and I did 10. My average pace was 8:40. I had 2-mile repeats between 7:56 and 8:06, and it was hard. My first 2, my average pace was an 8:01. And my second 2 was 7:56. So you think, oh, well, that sounds good. You hit it, right? Not really, because I'd pause my watch to like move around a puddle. I would pause my watch because I had to like mentally reset. Like I had those moments. And then it's like, oh, why pause your watch? That's cheating. It totally is cheating. But I wouldn't mentally recover if I just let my watch go. Like, and it was like, your pace is 12:30. Like, I would just think, forget it, I would quit. So at least pausing my watch gives me like a mental like reset. I typically don't pause my watch, is my point. But on that day, I needed a couple pauses. So, because yeah, it's too mentally defeating. If I didn't pause the watch, I probably wouldn't even finish the workout. So at least when I would move around the puddles and the wind, I was able to pick the pace back up. I know a run is really bad is if I stop and then when I start again, I just can't get back to where I was. Like that's bad. So I was always able to get back to where I was. And I don't pause for long. I'm not like sitting down for 5 minutes. I'm talking like 20 seconds or something. So anyway, not great. Didn't feel like a big winner when I came out of that one. And again, I just hate that Tuesday after work nonsense, right? I'm tired. I teach kindergarten. I'm on all day. And then I come home and I tackle this bear. That's kind of what it is a bear. So I tackled the bear. I'm going to give myself credit for that. Okay. Wednesday was a rest day. Thursday I did 6 at a 9:30 pace. My heart rate was a 132. So I was liking these like low heart rates I'm seeing. Friday I did my 8 at a 9:28 pace. My heart rate was a 137. Saturday's long 16-mile run, awful as well. So Friday at work, again, you have a bad run and you're like, oh, it was this A, B, C, and D. Are they excuses? I don't know. Sometimes you need excuses. so that you can move on. So 16 on Saturday, I had to do 5 at marathon pace, 1 mile easy, 5 at marathon pace. And then I think I did like a 2 mile warm up. Then I went into the 5, 1 mile easy, another 5 at marathon, 3 mile cool down. And it was raining. But it was like 62 degrees. It was a bit humid. On Friday at work, I just had a headache all day, and I've had a lot of students out, 7, which was a lot, with different things. And like Saturday morning when I woke up, my stomach was just kind of feeling a little off, but I didn't have a fever or anything, and I didn't feel like I had to stay in bed. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go do this run. And yeah, again, like it was just miserable. It's just one of those miserable runs. So anyway, my marathon pace efforts was an 8:07, 7:58, 7:48, 8:11, 7:48 for the first 5 mile stint. And then I did the recovery mile in between, and then 8:15, 8:12, 8:12, 8:10, 8:04. So the second half was much slower than the first. Now, mind you, for Boston, like I got to talk about that too, my goal. But yeah, like lots of stops. I get home. Oh, I got to the point in this run at mile 14, I was ready to throw in the towel. I was like, forget it. You did the marathon pace stuff. You're not feeling good. Just call it a day. And I was like, you can't. That's the one thing for me, I will say, is I think sometimes you might not hit the paces and you just might feel like trash on the run. But for me, it's really important that I finish whatever mileage I mentally set out to do. I think when you quit a run or you cut it short for whatever reason, unless you plan to cut it short, like I just can't do it today, I got to take my kids somewhere, so I got to cut it short. But if you cut it short because you're feeling bad during the run, I think mentally that's more draining and will affect you later on more than it will just to finish the run. I think it's best to finish it miserable than it is to just quit it. That's my personal. Same with, and I haven't been in a position, fortunately, where I've had to DNF, did not finish a race. But for me, unless I get totally injured on course and I like can't walk, like I will finish that race. So that's just something I understand why elites don't, because it's a lot on their body and they would rather not finish than put their body through that for a result that's not going to pay them, because they're in it for pay. I'm not in it for pay. So yeah, I can't really see myself ever just not finishing a race unless I was so injured. And we're talking like med tens, and they were like, you can't go on. Sorry, we're not letting you. Anyway, so that's kind of why I'm always like, you've got to finish. And that on Saturday, it took everything I had to get through that 16, but I did it. Came home, couldn't, like, my stomach was all messed up, very crampy. My husband's like, you look really pale. I was like, yeah, I'm not feeling good at all. Like, I feel like I just ran a full marathon. I immediately took a bath, which I don't typically do. Like, I normally come home and I'm like doing strength stuff and getting ready and going to a baseball game or whatever. And I couldn't move from the bed for the rest of the day. Couldn't move. I was just like, my stomach was all crampy. It took everything I had to get something down to eat. So I don't know if I have like a viral thing, but it sucks because it's not like I have a fever. It's not like I'm throwing up, it's just like I feel off. My stomach feels off. Everything about me feels off. It just can't be confirmed with a fever or me throwing up in the toilet, which I wish, if I'm going to be sick, like give it to me. Don't make it this weird in between thing. And then it makes me think, well, maybe you're just looking for an excuse. You're like, yeah, my stomach doesn't feel that good. I don't know. Who knows? Did my 8 miles today. I went out this morning and I was like, I don't know. Like last night when I went to bed, I was like, oh gosh, like, is it my appendix? Like, what is going on? Woke up this morning, felt totally fine. Didn't want coffee, which is odd. And I just went out for my 8-mile run. I thought, well, it's an easy recovery run. If I need, this is one where I went out with the thought of, if I need to pull it because I'm not feeling good, I will. I did finish the 8, but like the only thing I want right now is a Coca-Cola from McDonald's. That's it. That's it. Stomach is still weird. I just feel weird. So hopefully, I don't know if it's a viral thing. I don't know what's going on, but yeah. So some weeks are just like that. And I'm always like, just get it over with now. Just don't do it to me race week is fine. I want to get whatever everyone else is getting. Give it to me now is how I feel. So, but it is interesting how, I'll have one bad run and that's the only run you can think about, or 2 this week, right? Those are the only 2 that stand out in my mind, as opposed to all the other great work that has happened this cycle. Like all the runs I've had that have been really strong, you just hang on to the negative ones and you think like, oh my gosh, my fitness is just falling off the cliff. I'm going to suck and this is awful and I just can't run anymore, which is totally not true. The fitness is still there. You're just, for whatever reason, having an off week. Yeah, I wish our weather, did I say it was raining yesterday too? It was raining yesterday. Puddles everywhere. I got a huge blister on my toe from the puddle. So, or, my feet get wet. And then I got to the point where I was like, do I just walk around these puddles or do I just run through it? But then I was like, no, I don't. If I run through, I'm going to get blisters and then I'm going to have to do the blisters the whole 16 miles. So I think the last 4 miles, I was like, I can handle a blister for 4 miles. So then I ran through and sure enough, I came home with a blister. If it was a race, I'd just run through the puddles. So, which I've done before. But who knows what the weather's going to be like in Boston? Who knows? I made it through Chicago in 2007, which I've told you before. It was like 90 degrees. I'm not kidding you. 80% humidity, 85% humidity. It was canceled halfway through. I've told you about that before. I finished that sucker. I finished it. They literally canceled it in the middle of the race. This is Chicago, a world major. Canceled in the middle of the race, turned off the clocks. They were like, if you're not at the halfway point, we're picking you up in a bus and we're taking you back to the start. Thank gosh I was past that point, and so I got to finish. But I always go back to that. You finish Chicago, you can finish anything. So anyhow, looking forward to giving you an update in week 14. Hope it's better. I'm not really sure how I'm going to handle this stomach thing. I've got a big workout on Tuesday. Yeah, I'm not sure if my stomach's going to feel better, if I'm just going to be like, whatever, I'm going to do the mileage and not put the pace pressure on. We'll see. I haven't come up with a strategy yet because I'm not there. So happy running to you. I hope your week has gone better than mine. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.